Namaste. Glad you guys are joining me today. I was just mentioning I just returned back from Florida. We did the amusement parks, 2 days at Universal, 1 day at Disney, and 1 day at Hollywood Studios. And we had a lot of fun, but long lines can wreak havoc on the body, especially an adult body. And there were times where I had to take, some breaks, or when we would stand in line where I would do some forward folds, or I would tuck my knee, in towards my belly just to kind of give my hips and my low back some relief. I did post a short little clip on one of the hip openers that I did at Universal. And tomorrow I'm going to be posting a short little clip on a breath work that I did at Disney, and a different type of pose to help to relieve the low back. So you can find that on the Moonbeam Yoga YouTube channel, or you could find it on social media. After I posted the first one the other day, just opening up the hips in front of the Jimmy Fallon, someone suggested that I post something for moms that may be melting down from their children having, those kind of crashes just from exhaustion. And I told her, I was like, I've already got one. It's coming up Thursday. So there was one I was just mentioning before we started to record. Some of those simulation rides are, I know it's kind of the new thing, especially at Universal Studios, to make you feel like you're part of the movie or the film. And they're exciting rides, but it really is kind of stimulation overload. In fact, there's one in particular that I remembered getting somewhat nauseous on the last time I was there when Gabriel was 6. So 8 years later, we're back, and I was really dreading that ride. And it was in the Harry Potter section called, I think it was what was it? Forbidden Journey, I think is the name of the ride. And, the kids loved it. Rob loved it. But there was a point in that ride towards the end, because you're belted in and you're getting rocked back and forth. You're also getting flipped almost upside down. At the same time, you have this screen and you feel like it's kind of like a virtual reality simulation where you're completely in it and you're doing these free falls through the sky and, kind of missing some buildings. And anyway, the sound was loud, the sights was too much, and then the movement was too much. And I finally just held on, and I had to close my eyes, and I had to drop into some yoga breath work. I had to do some diaphragmatic breathing and just withdraw from my senses. Thank goodness I've been doing this long enough where I could kind of lessen all that distraction. And basically, I stopped myself from throwing up on the ride. I know that sounds nasty, but it worked. So I'm sharing this with you because I know if you're ever in this situation with your kids or your grandkids or whatever, that, it's possible to close your eyes and to do the breath work to kind of withdraw from all that. And it's also important when we're waiting in those long lines, especially those long walks and standing on cement, that we cater to the body. We don't just stand there and suffer. And so this is why I'm putting these little video clips out. We can really do yoga anytime, anywhere. It doesn't matter if we're barefoot or in shoes. It doesn't matter what clothes we're wearing. It doesn't matter what environment we're in, or if people are around watching. And we don't have to have a mat or be in a studio or have a teacher instructing us to do it. You guys have the capability of recalling this and just putting it into action at any time you need it. So hopefully that can be an example for you. So I mentioned, since I'm just returning home, to grab a chair. We're going to do more chair yoga. We'll do a little bit of active. And then if it's all right with you guys, we're going to do a little magic 4 in the end. I feel like that would really help my low back, and hopefully it'll help you calm your nerves and get settled in yourself, get grounded in your body, and also help your hips and low back. So I will meet you on the mat. So we're actually going to start sitting upright in the chair. And I would suggest sitting towards the edge of the chair so that your ankles are lined up under your knees. And if you're really petite or you feel like there's a long, like downward slope between your hips and your knees, you can always stack a blanket or one of these bolsters up underneath. And we'll start sitting. And so go ahead and draw the shoulders up towards your ears and exhale down and back. And we're going to do that a couple times. Inhale, roll the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale down and back. And we'll do one more of those. Inhale, rolling the shoulders up. Exhale, let them drop down the back. And we're going to take the mudra for meditation or being contemplative. So stack one palm over the other, let your thumbs touch, and close your eyes. Once you close your eyes, just notice how we've shut off our vision. And what tends to take over is our listening, our audible hearing. So just notice what you're hearing in the background. Maybe there's someone else in the house. I currently hear an airplane flying overhead. And then start to bring it more into the room where you're taking residence. And then drop within and notice, are you hearing any conversation in your mind? Let's try to decrease any inner chatter by taking the reins of the breath. Something that I had to do on one of those wild rides. So start to breathe in and out through the nose. Improving the input of your oxygen into your lungs, which helps to oxygenate our bloodstream. Knowing that our circulation touches every cell of our body. Equally focus on the breath moving out. It's the breath moving out that gives us a calming effect. Helping to slow the wheels of the mind down. Breathe in the diaphragmatic way where you experience movement in your belly. Movement in your chest. Movement in your side body. And perhaps experience it in the back body. Notice how concentrating on the breath can help to withdraw the senses more, helping you to tune everything else out. Now gently begin to crack your eyelids open. And as you inhale, turn your nose and your chin upward. And as you exhale, drop the nose and the chin downward. Doing this a couple more rounds. Inhale, open your throat wide. And exhale, sink the chin down towards the chest. Moving with your breath. After the next chin tuck, inhale, bring the chin so it's parallel to the floor. Exhale, turn your head across your right shoulder. Inhale, turn your head to center. And exhale, rotate to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. Inhale, center. And exhale, left. Do it one more time on your own. Our last ride yesterday was at Hollywood Studios, and it was the Aerosmith rock and roller coaster. And my head bobbed around a lot. So remember, these neck stretches are great. Anytime we even feel like a little bit of whiplash, you might even experience sometime when you're driving. Now on your next exhale, just dip your right ear towards the right shoulder. Inhale, bring it to the top, and exhale, left ear lowers in the direction of the left shoulder. We'll do that twice more. Simple, gentle movement. Just noticing if you have any tension anywhere in the neck or throat. Because if you notice any and you pay attention, any of these that's targeting that segment of the neck or throat, you can come back to after class, holding it a little longer. And then bring the head back to center. All right, we're going to take the right arm out in front of us, flip the fingers down, take your left hand to pull back those four fingers, just stretching out your wrist, your fingers, the forearm. Still maintaining good posture so that you're not slumping as you sit. And release. We'll extend the left arm out, push down those fingers, pull them back with the right hand. Same application. And continue to breathe. Now release the hands down, and you can just hold the edge of the chair. If you're in like the chairs that we normally use, the card table chairs, you might even be able to hook your hand up underneath the seat. As you lift your right arm skyward, gently just slide your left hand down so that you're curving to one side, staying grounded on the buttocks. Take some deep breaths in and out through the nose. Then I'll tell you a funny story. So Rob doesn't like roller coasters. Gabriel loves roller coasters. Ella hasn't had a lot of experience. And I love them normally, but as I've gotten older, my equilibrium has changed. So there's certain ones I can't do with the really steep hills. I can go upside down, I can spiral, but it's the big heights and the long drops that I can't do anymore. Inhale, come up to the top. Exhale, release. Inhale, bring the left arm skyward, and exhale, curve across to the side. So Ella put her brave hat on and did the Hulk with us, which is full of spirals and, turns upside down, and absolutely loved it. And we went to the other side of the park, and there was one called the Rocket. Well, I had already told Gabriel I'm not riding that one. Ella had and Rob both had said that they would try it. And once we walked up to it, it was a complete vertical lift straight up at the very beginning of the roller coaster. And you could hear it struggling to get over the top before it zoomed down a steep hill. And as we got closer and closer, I filled with fear. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that one. And Ella joined me in the ranks. And poor Gabriel wanted someone to ride with him. And Rob said, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it because I'm going to keep my word. And we were scared for him. And the affirmation we use in this pose, strength and courage, fill up my body cells. So it's funny when you're in a situation like that, you'll see smaller kids go by, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. Or you'll see someone older go by, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. And you have to kind of create all that self-talk to build yourself up. Inhale, come all the way to the top and bring your hands to Namaste. When you bring your hands to Namaste, you're going to lace your fingers together, press the palms out in front of you, and then we're going to help to create some traction in the spine just by lifting the arms straight up overhead. Keep reaching the hands up towards your ceiling, but also feel the contact of your feet to the earth. There was one ride we rode, I think it was called The Mummy. And both Ellen and I, it was kind of a roller coaster simulation combination. And we could not touch our feet to the flooring. And it just helps when you feel your feet on the ground. So feel your feet touching the ground as you're reaching up in a lofty way with your hands. And then on your exhalation, you're going to fan your arms around your body. And if you need to separate your thighs a little bit to find more comfort in your belly or chest, do that. Otherwise, you can lay over your lap and let your head dangle towards your knees or beyond. So this particular version of child's pose is something that I would do at the park when we were waiting in line and I was feeling sore in my low back. I would sit on one of the, or not really sit, I would lean my sits bones towards one of the rails, and I would have my knees bent to be able to sit that way, and I would fold over. And it not only helped to bring some, traction to the low back. Just imagine your sits bones being up higher to get that traction. We're not really getting that here. But we are receiving the calming piece by letting the head spill down, receiving that extra blood flow and energy current. Let's take a cleansing breath. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe it out through your mouth. Now keep your hands resting on the floor. Heel toe your feet apart if you haven't already. And once you take the feet wide apart, turn your toes away from your midline. And you can be stacked on your fingertips, fists, or palms. You're sitting right at the edge of the chair. Your knees are fanning wide open so that you're getting a little bit of a hip stretch here. Now, you can just keep your head even with your heart. But if you find that, you know what, I need to calm my nerves down a little bit more, if you don't have vertigo or if you don't have any recent, surgical techniques done to your mouth, dental work, or anything with your eyes, you can go ahead and bow over and let your head just drape down. This is a great way to get the benefits of a squat, especially if your knees can't handle too much of that flexion. And this is a great way to do it in a balanced way, since your feet are flat and you're using a prop. Affirm mentally to yourself, I release and relax away all mental burdens and barriers. I release all mental burdens and barriers. Now, on your next inhalation, let's go ahead and stack back onto the fingertips. If your head was lowered, let that kind of even out. I would just cast the eyes downward. And then place your hands back on top of your knees and then slowly build up. All right, we're going to rest the right forearm towards the right thigh. And we're going to sweep the left arm out and up towards the ceiling. Now remember, we're trying to twist through the spine, through the belly, through the chest. It's not necessarily about how far we crank that top arm back. Couple more deep breaths. And then we'll go ahead and build up. We'll lean across to the left side and inhale, sweep the right arm skyward, twisting through the vertebrae. And I've heard for people that have TMJ, some days it can be difficult or aggravating to look up. And Elena, who I train to teach, she has a heart condition. And she said it's not good for her to look up. So if that's the case, if something makes you a little, queasy, just turn your head or your neck a different way. Couple more breaths. And then gently build your way up. Once you build your way up, bring the legs back in front, except you're going to extend the right leg and you're going to really lift those toes up. Lift up through the crown of your head and exhale, fold over. So this is like a chair version of Janu Shirshasana, working the backside of the leg, opening up the hamstrings. Your hands can just rest on your lap. They can hold the chair if you feel like you're about to slide off. You can also drop lower if your body provides that flexibility. And if your hands are lowered, you can stack them back to your lap or grab the chair, gently return back to center, and we'll swap sides. You're putting that dorsiflexion in your ankle, lifting up energetically to start with, and then hinging over. Finding that pause, that edge, wherever you feel like a strong sensation. Using your breath to stay focused. Inhale, coming back up. We're going to do one more hip stretch and then we're going to go down to the floor. So if you lean back, you can cross that left ankle over the right knee. You're flexing that foot so that you can't quite see the bottom of the foot as you look down. You just see the side of it. If this knee gives you any trouble, your hand can stack under. You can build it up higher. And as you exhale, fold. Try not to put any pressure on the knee. If your hand's resting there, it's just a very light, effortless touch, unless you're needing to lift it up. So remember, this is one that I often mention in class. It's good to do if you've been traveling, and that means driving or flying. So if you're on a road trip, if you stop at a rest area, they usually have benches or picnic tables you could do this at. We don't typically have room in the car to do this. And planes are so crowded these days, you really don't have room, on an aircraft to do this. But you can usually find a place in the airport that's a little quiet and less crowded. This will help to improve the circulation, help to keep the hips open. Inhale, let's rise back up. Let's plant that foot down. If you need to lean back, usually that helps to bring the foot higher. And then just hold at the top for a moment. Sometimes we just want to go right into the fold, but yet there's some days we don't even need to hinge over. I know I have those days, so I know you do too. Just pay attention to how it feels, and if your body's asking for more, or if you're not feeling a lot, then go ahead and start to dive down. I switched to an Ujjayi breath. So if you need an audible breath, you're welcome to invite that in. If you need a cleansing breath, you're welcome to invite that in. Last one. Inhale, let's bring it back up. All right, I'm ready to move into the Magic Four. So if you want to join me with this, we're going to come down to the floor and we're going to bring the legs up to the chair. And of course, if you need blankets around you to cover you or to stack under your head or to have available to move in between the knees once we do the twist, you can have that available. Now your arms are going to stack beside you, not quite right beside the side body, but about 30 to 45 degrees away. I call this the A-frame position of the arms. Try to make sure that your knees and feet and shin stay parallel to one another. And close your eyes. Now, depending on where your head is at, meaning how busy it is, if it's no longer busy, you can just breathe naturally. But if your mind stirs up, you can use your breath, a controlled breath, to calm it back down. Elevating the legs this way with the knees bent is a good way to bring some traction to the low back. You can aid certain elements to the low back. And the Magic Four is meant to help to release tension that's trapped in the body. Follow the breath 3 more rounds. Now slowly slide your left foot back. It can stop anywhere along the way, or maybe just in front of the seat. Try not to allow the knee to roll in or out. If it begins to feel like it's too much, you can scoot it forward. If it begins to feel like it's not enough, you can slide the foot back. Notice the difference in the way the two sides feel in your low back. Feel the stretch you're receiving on the left side. It should not feel intense, even though the sensation may build up. We'll slide the left knee back to where it started, and then we'll swap to the right side. So you're drawing the right knee towards you. The heel comes closer to the edge of the seat. Anywhere along the way, but where it feels beneficial. Pay attention to any sensitivity. You can always do less or more. So I just noticed I was holding unnecessary tension in the left leg, even though we're not even using it right now. So maybe scan through your body. Notice if you're tensing unnecessarily in the opposite leg, in your shoulders, in your neck, belly, or chest. And if you are, try to let it go. Let's return back to where we started. Take a brief moment here. Remember the last hip stretch we did sitting in the chair? We're going to do the same thing but supine. So the left ankle is now going to cross over the right knee. Now this is the more gentle way to do this. It's kind of like what we use as an alternative for pigeon pose. But I have failed to mention lately, there is another option here. And that other option, you can test the waters if you choose, is sliding that foot lower down the thigh in the direction of the pelvis. Now that may or may not be welcome for the knee because that is a lot more flexion there. Feel free to keep it stacked where you started. It doesn't necessarily need to be as extreme as a half lotus, but possibly somewhere in between. Let's slide that left calf back to the seat of the chair and just pause a moment. Let that settle. And then we'll cross the right ankle over the left knee. And again, it can stay right here, or it can slide halfway towards a half lotus, dependent on how it feels today. Pranayama is meant to help. Control your breath if or when you need to. Go ahead and slide the right leg back. Take a moment. Let that integrate. We're going to be moving into the twist next. So if you need a pillow or block or blanket to go in between the thighs, you're welcome to bring it in. Otherwise, we're just going to let them roll off to the right. The knees will descend down towards your right wrist. And you're also going to turn and roll your head towards the right shoulder. Relax your teeth, your tongue, your lips. Notice how it's affecting your low back. Notice how it's affecting the left side of your neck. There may be a point in time where you need to bring in the support, even if you felt like you didn't need it at the start. Take 3 more breaths. Your next inhale, turn your head first. And then slowly roll the legs back to the seat. Pause there a moment. Let that integrate. And then when you're ready, let's roll the knees off to the left. Again, stacking any padding or support that you may feel the need for between your thighs. And then tilting your head to your left. Remember, you can always add in support, even if you didn't begin with it. Let's go ahead and bring that left arm up, tucking it under the left ear, lifting the right arm and rolling to the left side in the side fetal type position. As if you were rolling out of Shavasana. And just be here a moment. And then you're going to push down into that right hand to come up. And we're going to return to sit on the chair a moment. I'm pleasantly surprised I didn't fall asleep on you in those poses. So make sure your feet are on the ground. And we're going to slide the thumbs to the hip crease. Shoulders roll back. And as we exhale, we're going to fold forward again. Just like we did earlier. And let the arms eventually drape down beside your ankles. Take 3 deep breaths and let the breath ripple up and down alongside the spine. Slightly nod your head from left to right. And then bring the hands to prop to your knees. Bring yourself back up with an erect spine. Stack your hands one on top of the other. For the Dhyana hand mudra, and close the eyes. Let's take 7 breaths here. And bring your hands now to Anjali Mudra. Feel free to chime in with me. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And we all walk away from this practice being free and at peace from anything out of our control, anything imposed upon us by another, or by any internal concerns or stressors of our own. Namaste.